You've all heard the phrase, put your own oxygen mask on first before helping others. Now, I want you to be honest with me. If you were sitting on a plane next to mom, best friend, grandpa, and they were panicking in an emergency, do you really think you'd be able to do that? No. Honestly, me either, but that's why we're here today. The problem is that most of us were raised and conditioned to be nice women, not kind women. We've been told to smile, say yes, don't make waves. But niceness often comes at a cost. And we don't really see it until we're exhausted, resentful, or unwell. But what's the difference between the two? Niceness tends to appear as self-abandonment. And the cost of self-abandonment isn't obvious. In fact, it's very, very sneaky. And I've seen it firsthand, everywhere from the delivery room to the gym. Through my work as a birth doula and a women's strength coach, I have watched women self-sacrifice in order to care for others, even in the most uncomfortable of situations. I've had clients apologize for needing pain medication during labor. Let's just sit with that for a minute. Or even going all day without eating a meal because they were too exhausted after taking care of their family. Now, this isn't to say don't take care of your loved ones, not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that you matter too. And it's not just emotional, it's also biological. Nearly 2/3 of Americans diagnosed and living with Alzheimer's disease and dementia are women. And when you look closer, a pattern emerges. Chronic stress, lack of quality rest are linked to higher rates of autoimmune disease, clinical depression, anxiety, and heart disease, which is the leading cause of death in women worldwide. And these aren't just random stats. They're the slow motion cost of years saying yes to everyone else and no to ourselves. Research and science have shown that rest, stress management, movement, proper nutrition are the main driving factors for a quality life, especially as we age. So, where do you see this show up in your own lives? Maybe eating your kids' lunch leftovers and calling that a meal? Where my mom's at, because I know you've all done it. But there's hope. The good news here is that we can shift from nice to kind, and it's fairly simple. Through boundaries, learning that no can actually be one of the kindest words you speak. Through strength, and I'm not talking about the strength you find in the gym, but the decision to treat yourself as something worth caring for and protecting, even when it's a challenge. And through community, surrounding ourselves with women who respect our needs, respect our no's, and encourage us to develop healthy boundaries. Because courage is contagious. This is something I want you to remember. The relationship that you have with yourself sets the tone for every other relationship in your life. So if you treat yourself like you don't matter, how can you expect others to treat you like you do? I'm going to share a little story with you. There was a point a few years ago, I was coming out of an awful relationship. I was burnt out from doing too much at work. I was saying yes when I wanted to say no. I was overcommitting, overgiving, and I never let myself really rest. because I felt guilty. And one day, I found myself on my therapist's couch. I was crying, I was confused, and I felt completely drained. Like I was on a hamster wheel. I was constantly going, but not really ever getting anything done. And Nancy, we love Nancy, by the way, she looked at me and she said, Courtney, you have to learn to be a kind woman, not a nice woman. Use the word no. It's okay. It's okay to ask for help. It's not selfish to take rest. And that was my light bulb moment. From there, this whole idea took off. I started implementing it into my own life. I started saying no even when I wasn't really sure. I started creating boundaries even when it was uncomfortable. I started telling my friends, started writing about it, teaching it to my clients, and now I'm up here sharing it with you. And the more I shared, the more I saw lives begin to change. Because this one seemingly small thing creates a ripple effect. Because when one woman chooses kindness over niceness, she gives every other woman around her permission to breathe. Because you see, kindness isn't selfish, it's actually quite sustainable. Prioritizing your health, your needs, your boundaries allows you to show up fully and sustainably for the people that you love so much. I'm sure you've all heard it before, right? You can't pour from an empty cup. So I want to take you back to that oxygen mask in the plane. My invitation today is simple. Be a kind woman, not a nice woman. And tonight, when you leave here and you go home and you feel that tug to say yes when you really want to say no, pause. Kindness is like your oxygen mask. It protects your mind, your body, your future, and it's the only way you can keep pouring into the ones you love. Because when we choose kindness, we don't just save ourselves, we save each other. Thank you.